We are now live.
Welcome, everybody, to the transit meeting, December 20th, 2022. We meet on the third Tuesday of the month, virtually from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. The Transit Committee is a volunteer citizen board designed to offer input and guidance to the Asheville transit system and City Council. We do not set or change routes, control Asheville's transit budget, or have authority over staff, drivers, or the management company. We are a group of citizens like you who are here to ensure community concerns are taken into consideration when setting public transit policy. At this time, I'll be taking a roll call. Sandy Aldridge.
Right here. Thank you.
Georgia Burtz. Georgia Burtz. Georgia Burt. Bill Loftus. Georgia Burt. Bill Loftus. Thank you, Bill. Georgia Burt. Bill Loftus. Philip Lucero. Thank you. Philip Lucero. Colin Kenton.
Here.
Thank you, Colin. Brandon Oliver.
Here.
Thank you, Brandon. We do have a quorum. All right, moving on down the agenda. I will be reading the agenda as it is listed. December 20th, 2022. I take it everybody's had time to look over the agenda for today. And for review and approval, may I have a motion to accept the minutes as they are written on the agenda?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, roll call. Sandy Aldridge, yay or nay?
Yay.
Bill Loftus, yay or nay?
Yay.
Colin Kenton, yay or nay?
Yay.
Brandon Oliver, yay or nay? Brandon Oliver.
Yay.
Thank you, Brandon. Okay, November 15th, 2022 minutes, review and approval. May I have a motion to accept these minutes?
On motion.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Colin. Roll call. Sandy Aldridge, yay or nay?
Yay.
Bill Loftus, yay or nay?
This is for the 15th of November?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, I'm staying. I wasn't present.
We'll take that as I think we just accept that as a yay. Colin Kenton,
Yay.
thank you, Colin.
Brandon
Brandon
I'm just
Oliver.
not sure how Bill's abstention can be considered a yay, but okay.
Yay.
I think that's the way the council rules
Yes, that's we
read
have to accept
for
that
some
as a yay.
reason.
Okay.
Mhm.
If I might,
Yes,
Harvey, if I
Brandon
might, this
Oliver.
is,
Yay.
thank you, Brandon. Okay, that was a review of
Chairman
Oh,
Harold,
yeah.
someone on the telephone was trying to speak.
okay, who has telephone number ending in 65?
Harvey, this is Kim Roney. I'm calling in as your liaison.
Hi,
And I
Kim.
just wanted to let
Hi. I wanted to let you know that as a rule of procedure, unless you vote to have someone be eligible to abstain because they have a conflict of interest, that all abstentions are counted as yes, according to our rules of procedure.
Exactly. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate that very much. Moving on, we do have some public comment for today. So we welcome public comment in our meetings. You are allowed to comment on any matter under consideration prior to a final vote. If you have something to say, raise your hand and the chair, me, will recognize you. There are also two public comment periods, one at the start of the meeting and one at the end. Any person addressing the committee is limited to 3 minutes. However, a group may have a single spokesperson who will be allowed 10 minutes. The committee will receive written information from any individuals or groups that cannot conclude their presentations within these time limitations. If you would like to have any item discussed in more detail as part of our agenda, we ask that you speak with a member of the Transit Committee in order to have that item addressed during our next meeting. Thank you for your attendance, and your input is valued. And public comment. I believe the people that we have are from the Sunrise, and we have allowed for another position on the agenda for them to give their comment. Moving on to new business. Jessica, do you have a problem? Oh, okay, you just look surprised. New business. Proposed city joint transit master plan planning effort. Discuss the concepts of a joint planning effort with Buncombe County to, let me get my phone right here. With Buncombe County to develop a transit master plan. The staff recommends that the committee endorse the concept of a joint planning effort of Buncombe County to develop a transit master plan moving forward. Okay, and I will be reading a letter from Art C. And it has already been one read to Multimodal. And this letter is addressed to City Council, staff, Transit Committee, and the Multimodal Commission. I'm writing you on behalf of ART-C. ART-C is a coalition of individuals and organizations committed to advocating for improvements to transit in our area. ART-C includes representatives from AARP, Children First, CIS of Buncombe County, Just Economics, Mountain True, the Sierra Club, as well as the Asheville Transit Committee. Asheville City Council, Buncombe County Commission, and the BCTDA. In regards to transit in our community, the city of Asheville runs ART, our fixed route bus service, while the county runs paratransit services, Mountain Mobility, and our deviated fixed route service, Trailblazer. Additionally, the city of Asheville contracts with the county for the ADA paratransit service required of the ART system. The city last passed a transit master plan in 2018. The first year of the Transit Master Plan included the most major changes, including extending evening service hours until 10 p.m. on our routes. Year 2 of the Transit Master Plan included increased frequency to South Asheville. Due to COVID issues and funding constraints, these 2 high priority transit improvements have not been implemented. The first purpose of this letter is to request that the city include funding for these improvements in next year's budget. There currently is no plan for the expansion of transit in the county outside the county extensions in the city's master plan. The county is growing and need for public transit service is increasing. More cohesive connections with the county's trailblazer routes to ART would make our current service work for more people. These improvements would benefit employees located in the city that have many employees who live in areas outside of the city. We ask that the city partner with the county to fund a county transit plan that includes a feasibility study about the potential merger of the city of Asheville and Buncombe County transit systems. The second purpose of this letter is to ask that the city include in next year's budget a line item to fund up to $300,000 for a transit consolidation feasibility study. We are also making the same request of the county. This letter is requesting that the county and city jointly award a contract to conduct a feasibility study on consolidating the city and county transit systems. The study would explore alternatives for accomplishing this consolidated system and include estimates for implementation costs and potential savings that would be achieved. The potential benefits of city-county consolidation include better connections between city and county routes, potential savings to the city and county budget in consolidating staffing needs and facilities needs, in effect, needing only one garage, one management company, etc. Potential to serve a growing community, and potential to seek dedicated source of funding from a quarter-cent sales tax. This is not the first time ART-C has made these requests. We have requested funding for evening service and increased service in South Asheville since the development of the Transit Master Plan in 2018. You are probably aware that we have been requesting a planning effort for public transit in Buncombe County for several years. Please consider these requests as you prepare the budget for next year. We'll be glad to meet with individual city officials or the city or the council or committees to discuss this request. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Vicky Meth, on behalf of the Asheville Regional Transit Coalition. During this time, we ask for comment, and figure staff will take the lead on that as of now.
Thanks, Harvey, for reading that public comment. So we have been having this conversation, like Vicki stated, for quite some time now, and we are going to be reaching out, or will have reached out very recently to the county staff to start conversations about this this undertaking that we would like to do with them. We are planning on putting in or actually I should say we already have submitted to the finance department a budget request for what would be the concept is that the city and the county would split the cost of the joint study 50-50. At least that's the concept for now. So we've put in a budget request asking for the city's share, which would be, we think, about $300,000. Hopefully that's too much. And we don't need that much, but we'll see. And my understanding is that the county is also going to be putting in a budget request for their share. And this would be for not the current fiscal year that we're in, but for the one that would start July 1st of 2023. But having said that, there are many things that we can do leading up to July 1st without a budget. We can have conversations with county staff. We can start to put together a scope of work. We could start to have even public meetings and talk about what kinds of things we'd like to study, what our goals and objectives are. So there's a lot that we hope to accomplish in the next 6 months. And then the idea would be, if both the city and the county approve the budget request, that we would start working with a consultant soon thereafter, after July 1st. So there was one thing I was going to share on the screen, and it's just kind of a summary bullet point of some of the things that the city staff have identified as what the types of outcomes are, or the things that we would probably want to see out of a joint undertaking with them. So we would definitely want to look at our current operational costs. And when I say I don't mean just the city, I mean the city and the county for all of our different transit services. So not just ART, but our paratransit service, their mountain mobility, Trailblazer, all of the things that we're collectively providing. We would want to work with a consultant to look at other potential service types that could be added to what we currently provide. Some examples could be van pool, microtransit, on-demand services. And we would want to look at shared facilities, evaluating whether there is a potential for shared facilities. So as Vicki mentioned in that letter, we have a transit garage, they have a transit garage. So looking at what we have as assets in terms of our facilities. And we would want to evaluate multiple different scenarios for operational improvements that could be looked at. A clear and realistic implementation schedule that's actually based on expected revenues is something that's very important, and I think was potentially lacking in transit master plan. It didn't have a clear implementation tied to funding that we knew that we were going to have. And I think another big piece that we tend to forget about are the facility side and the fleet side. So if we're going to increase transit service, then we need to make sure that our facilities and our buses can handle it, and that we're replacing our buses and allocating funding for those things as they're needed. And then one of the things that Vicki talks about in her letter is this concept of combining the systems together, combining the governance, if you will, of it. And I think that my thought is that rather than assuming that we would merge with the county or assuming that we would form some kind of regional authority, that would be part of the study as well. It's figuring out what's the best kind of oversight structure for the transit systems, whether that be combining services, combining them under a transit authority or combining them under either the city or the county, or continuing to maintain the way the existing operational structures are now, which are separate but coordinated. And then finally, nobody likes to talk about taxes, but we are I think it's an understatement to say that there's a great need for transit funding. There is current legislation that allows us to have a quarter-cent sales tax, but it has to be voted on by the city and county residents. So part of what I think the city's hoping for this joint study with the county is to set us up with a plan for the future that how would we spend that quarter-cent sales tax over time. So it has the potential to essentially double the budget that ART has now. And that amount would grow every year. So we would want to have a financial plan that says, this is how those funds will be invested among operations, fleet, and facilities over the course of the next decade or two, and use that kind of as a plan to say, this is why we think that it's important for this sales tax to be passed. So that's kind of, this is a summary of what we're expecting to do, but we obviously want to have a lot of conversations with the county and see what their expectations are, what their goals are, and we want to have conversations with the public and with you guys to make sure that we cover everybody's needs and wants as we go through this process, which will be, a lengthy planning process, kind of like the last transit master plan was, but maybe even more in depth, since it will be talking about county services as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions, but we'll of course keep you guys updated as we have those conversations with the county.
Thank you, Jessica. Are there any other concerns any other committee members would like to make concerning this letter? Go ahead, Colin.
Thank you, Harvey. Jessica, just curious, you mentioned the potential for a 25-cent sales tax, or is it 0.25 cent? Quarter%?
Quarter-cent. Yep.
Okay. How do you have a ballpark idea of what that could generate for city?
I've been using the number about 12 to 13 million. It's probably more like 13 to 14 million at this point. The last time we updated the estimate was, I think, in 2021, and it was about 13 million. And, we'll continue to grow. So our current budget for transit, for just for ART and for paratransit, so not thinking about mountain mobility or the Trailblazer, is about 13 million. So it's a significant increase in revenue. The state law requires that if the sales tax is passed, that it only be used for new services. So in other words, you can't supplant funding that already exists. So if the city's already putting $6 million, $7 million in from the general fund, that can't be, traded out for sales tax funding. So, and I'd be happy to provide the links to the actual legislation. It's pretty straightforward, but it has to be countywide vote. So the first step is that the commissioners have to agree, they have to vote to put it as a ballot measure, and then it goes on the ballot, and then it has to be countywide.
So it could be used to expand service, whether additional times later in the evening, additional routes, not maintaining the existing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do we know, just, again, just ballpark here, how many counties have done this in the state already, or?
Amber might actually be able to answer this better than me, but I know Mecklenburg has it.
Durham County. Durham County has it. Wake, as well as, I believe, Orange County. Those 3 counties went in. It was actually, the legislation was done probably in 2010, 2012, between those couple of years. A lot of it was done because Mecklenburg had the dedicated tax, and it was created so other counties, by county, and it does have to be brought forth on the county. They have to call for the referendum, so that others have the opportunity for a transit-specific tax to fund and improve their transit systems. Those are the ones I know of that have enacted it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Bill, you have a queue. Is in the queue. You have that floor.
Thank you, Harvey. No, I just wanted to say that I think this is desperately needed. I'm in full and complete and total support. I hope you get it. Question, what role do you see this group playing as this evolves?
I think that's yet to be determined, to be honest. I mean, I think that this group will 100% will have a role of some sort, whether that is the whole group, or maybe there's a steering committee that's formed that is comprised of folks from this committee and other stakeholders on the county side. It's I think that with anything that we as a city do in partnership with the county, it's a balance, right? Of we've got to make sure that there's representation from both sides. Obviously, we have the bigger transit system, we have the bigger population, but at the same time, part of this will be exploring county interests as well. So, long answer, but I think that's still to be determined. Amber and I's plan is to have some internal conversations with county staff first. And then my guess is that that conversation will broaden to this group. And, they don't really have an equivalent on the county side. So we need to talk with their staff about who would they want to have at the table? Is it like, I don't know, their community engagement staff or their planning staff? I don't know myself yet what that is. Obviously, they have transit staff that help run the paratransit and the Trailblazer, but I think it's going to go beyond that on their side.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Is there any more comments? All right, Colin, you're back in.
I will add that my understanding is the county is currently updating their comprehensive plan, and in the draft being worked on, there is support for doing this. So just a little FYI.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you. Any more comment?
Harvey, this is Kim, if I might add a couple points.
Yes, Kim.
And staff may be able to speak to this, but I know while we're having conversations around dedicated funding, there are a list of potential exemptions that could be included in a sales tax increase, things like groceries, folks who need to be able to afford medicines, and gas. So I think those are some of the conversations that can go along with the dedicated funding. Also, I know there is a conversation happening around safe routes to school and getting folks to and from good paying jobs, living wage jobs. So when we talk about expansion, I know there's a desire named to explore the growth of transit, also being able to access transit, and to what extent we could consider things like ADA compliance at transit stops, infrastructure at stops, sidewalks, and things like that. So just wanted to name that. Those are the table, and I think those are kinds of conversations that it really helps when people who ride the bus are bringing that experience to the table. So it is certainly front of my mind that the voice of transit riders be included in the conversation. So I just wanted to name that.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, somebody from 01 and joined. I don't know who that is, but thank you for all y'all comments. I would like to piggyback on Colin and Bill and Kim's comments, and we will be the committee is very much going to be involved in this and as far as disseminating information and stuff like that, because this committee is the voice of the people, and it's a good thing that we're doing now. Going forward, I would like to read this again. Staff recommends the committee endorse the concept of the joint planning effort with Buncombe County and to develop a transit master plan moving ahead. At this moment, I'd like to make a motion for transit to accept, I think I'm saying this right, to accept the city county master plan. And we would have to take a vote on this so we can send it forward.
Harvey, I would suggest that the motion be something more like that the committee endorses the concept of a joint planning effort with Buncombe County. So basically what's in that bullet, except just saying the committee endorses.
And also, as your liaison, and because it's in the role of the transit committee to recommend to council, you might consider the transit committee recommends the committee endorse, or no, the transit committee recommends the concept of, for example, and you could just add that in instead of staff recommends, just that the committee recommends. So in other words, if you take out staff recommends the committee endorse, just put the transit committee recommends the concept, and then you could take the rest of it.
Okay, the transit recommends the concept to make a motion to accept the city county master plan.
Well, someone would need to move. Like I move to recommend to city council, and then you can pick up. May I have a motion from someone, please?
I move to make that motion to recommend the city council.
Okay. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Thank you. We'll vote on that. Sandy Aldridge.
That would be a yay.
Bill Loftus. Nay or nay?
I'm sure I'm gonna a yay, except just for clarity, I think it's important we reread the motion because that did not come across clearly to me.
Reread the motion.
So
Thank you.
what I suggested
Transit
as your
recommends-
liaison is instead of the one that staff has recommended, what's in your agenda, it would be the transit committee recommends to city council the concept of a joint planning effort with Buncombe County to develop a transit master plan moving ahead.
I'm a yay for that.
Thank you, Shannon. So it is written. Let me see, we said, get our voting going. Thank you, Bill. Okay, Colin? Yeah, your
Yay.
name? Brandon Oliver? Yeah, your name?
Yay. Yay.
Harvey Harold? Yay. Thank you. And as far as a transit meeting, we will not be having a transit meeting in February. And staff prepares the information request for the city's upcoming triennial FTA comprehensive review. There will not be a January transit committee meeting. The next meeting will be February the 21st, 2023. And Amber, did you have anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I also included this in the memo update. Every 3 years, actually, this is going to be after 4 years due to the COVID and the pandemic issues. Every 3 years, we have a comprehensive review. The Federal Transit Administration comes in and looks at us in terms of compliance, along with our subrecipients, in about 23 areas of compliance regulatory, such as ADA, drug and alcohol compliance, procurement, financial management, grant management. There's a whole litany of those items, and we have to prepare in January our information for review. We work with the consultant who is overseeing the review to obtain the documentation from ourselves as well as the subrecipients. So it's something that we do every 3 years. That's all I have to add.
Okay, thank you, Amber. Sandy has her hand up.
Thank you, Harvey. Since we're on the subject of grants and everything, I was wondering if we can have an update for the 6 buses and 3 rechargeable, can't talk today, batteries, that was agreed on August, can't remember the date, the 4.2 million grant that was given the city.
We are in the process of actually putting the application to FTA, administering the grant, and working on procuring the vehicles. Nothing has been awarded, or we're working on the bid specs and looking at our options in terms of what is available for hybrid buses that work for our transit system, the size. So we're in the process of doing that.
It's interesting because, just saying, I've asked around a lot of people, and it seems that everything has come to a stop as far as information about the buses. I'm just curious because they're desperately needed. Some of the buses, it feels like they're going to fall apart. And if you have any injuries or whatnot, it hurts when you go over the bumps. And I know that may be elementary to you, but when somebody has injuries and you may not be able to see them, it does matter.
We do feel it's very important to procure these vehicles, but until we get a contract and we go ahead by FTA, we cannot go along with the procurement until we have those steps taken in place. We are going to be receiving within the next month, hopefully, those 4 vicinity vehicles that we ordered in 2019. Industry-wide, we've seen issues with delays in bus delivery, and we know the importance to get these other 6 ordered, but we are finally coming to some closure with being able to receive the new vehicles, those 4 electric vehicles vicinity.
Not electric.
Thank you.
Oh, they're not electric, excuse me.
No, we have 4 vicinity vehicles
Yeah.
coming in the next month, and then we have 3 other Gillig buses,
Those-
diesel
yeah,
buses
those are
coming
Those are 3
in the,
April.
So
April.
where,
so
Go on production.
what buses are coming from Canada?
Those are the
those
vicinity.
are the ones we get next month. Yeah.
Okay, and the other ones are coming from Florida,
No, those are from
No, they're-
California.
Yeah.
California? Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Colin is in the queue.
Yes, I guess back to the triennial review. Will I guess staff be given the committee maybe a summary afterwards of how the review goes? Is that standard
Absolutely.
procedure?
Yes, we can
Okay.
we can provide an update of the findings. We're still in the initial process. It's like a 9-step review with this collection, and then the next steps are they request for additional documentation, and then it's now a virtual site visit, but we do a entrance and exit, and they discuss some of the findings, and then there'll be a document, and we can discuss that and provide all that information to the committee.
Okay. So does the consultant, are they under contract to the FTA? So
Yes,
they're,
they
like, investigating for them.
Mhm.
So-
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Steph. Okay, Sandy, did you have anything else you had to say?
Well, my hand will not come off the screen, and I
I
do know how to
can't
do
get
it.
it
I
off
do
either.
know how to do it by now. Yes, I do. But I wanted to maybe switch up the subject, kind of, sort of. I am concerned about some of the drivers. They're going back to old tactics of not letting.
Sandy, I would like to
Customer-
interrupt you right there. Sandy, I'd like to interrupt you there. We're trying to
Okay.
keep with the agenda, and we'll address that in the rider experiences and updates.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Harvey.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your comments at all times, okay? Okay, Jessica is there. Moving on toward old business. Art service updates, W5, route updates. Staff will discuss the following.
Yeah, so I have something to share. If I can share my screen.
Okay,
Let's see. I'll just do the whole thing.
okay,
Can you guys see that?
yes.
All right, so it's a little informal, but I just wanted to give you guys the staff recommendation update for the W5. So what we had discussed previously, or what you guys had discussed previously back in October, was the W5 route and the concept of eliminating 3 of the stops. Let's see, these are the issues. So drivers didn't like going up the Hill Street stop, and also poor on-time performance for the weekdays. And just to remind you about the ridership for each stop, the Hill Street and the one at Westgate and Patton at Resort. Just to give you an idea of how low the ridership was at Hill Street and Patton at Resort. And not super low for Westgate, but kind of low. And these were the options you guys discussed last time, removing all 3 stops, or leaving the route as it is and making minor adjustments, or removing only the Hill Street stop, not being considered because of the safety concerns with the bus crossing over 3 lanes of traffic. And then the additional idea you guys had last time was the Hazel Mill cut through option that was added. So this is kind of like the update of what we talked about after that meeting, which was that removing all 3 stops saved only about 2.5 minutes. So it had little effect on the on-time performance. And then information was given that Sunrise Recovery would be joining Westgate Shopping Center, and that their clientele would be transit dependent. So it may affect the ridership numbers that we had projected, or excuse me, that we gathered. And also the Hazel Mill cut through wouldn't be ideal for the riders down at Louisiana and Patton, and for the bus stops that would be missed, that would be taken off the route if we cut it off at Hazel Mill. So the staff recommendation is that we will be reviewing the data for all 3 stops on W5, especially given Sunrise Recovery's move to Westgate, which we, like I said, we believe that'll change ridership. So we want to keep an eye on it and see how much it's utilized and if we need to make adjustments. And then we'll be working with operations, which is LaShawn and everyone over there, to see what we need to do to improve W5 overall, and also just the service as a whole, to see if W5's route can be adjusted because of the limited options that we have right now. And then in May, we'll do a reservice. So we'll make any minor adjustments then. And did anybody have any questions right now? I can't see the group, but Harvey, do we have any questions in the queue or anything right now?
No, Sandy's little hand is up, but I think hers is up because
it won't go down.
she hasn't push that little round hand at the bottom of your screen, Sandy, to go down. Okay, she has her hand raised now. Sandy. Sandy, do you hear me?
You're muted, Sandy.
Sorry. I just get so passionate when I talk about these things. So seriously. So I've ridden the W5 route, and there will be lots of people that it will cut off from transportation that use the bus, that use it to get to work and all that kind of stuff. Thanks.
So it would cut off a lot of people where? I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
We're talking about the W5 route, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the W5 route. Mm-hmm.
If we used what route? If we use the Hazel Mill cut through option, is that what you're talking about? It will cut people off there?
Yes.
Okay.
The staff recommendation, and I just want to add, and she included that the staff recommendation is to leave the route as is for now and continue to look at the stop level data, and then look at a more strategic approach to on-time performance and looking at some changes based on the stop level data that we can take through, visit with drivers, let the operational team look at, that would give more of a significant improvement to on-time performance than just the 2.5 minutes that we were looking at with the 3 stops.
Exactly.
And I think we have a couple representatives from Sunrise Recovery that wanted to speak, so we just moved them to this discussion.
Yes, I was going to address them, Mr. Polanski.
Yeah, so my name's Mark Polinsky, and I'm the RCC coordinator at Sunrise for Community for Recovery and Wellness, and RCC is Recovery Community Center. So that would be the entity of us that just moved into the Westgate Shopping Center this past month here, and actually just opened today. And I guess I would just like to comment, those numbers and just so what we do, right? We're a recovery community organization, and what we do is provide peer support and services and resources for people that are having struggles with substance use and mental well-being. And at the hub of that is our Recovery Community Center. I have a few numbers here that I'd like to share real quick. So in the month of July, our Drop-In Community Center seen 488 people. In the month of August, we've seen 703 people. Prior to that, May was 760 people. April was 608. So we're talking a lot of people come through our community center, and we have a huge impact on their lives and their general wellness and their well-being. And not to exaggerate, but I would say that almost all of the people that access our community center get here by riding the bus and using public transit. Probably maybe a handful of people out of all those numbers drove here. So I just think it's very important that they have access to us. And in the grand scheme of things, I'm hearing about these other buses that come through in other times, but when we're dealing with people with substance use disorders and mental well-being, sometimes, waiting till the next top of the hour to get somewhere to talk to somebody, to get some services that they need, that does make a difference. And that's what we're here for. We're here to advocate for our people, and they need accessibility, and they need to get to us and be able to come to us. And I think that, I appreciate the way that you guys are going to look at the numbers and the ridership, because I think you'll see that it is going to go up. We do. We opened today and we had 15 people here with no announcements. So, I think that, and I hope that ridership goes up. And I would hate to see a whole bus line get stopped because only a couple people a month get on, because just in general, I think everybody deserves access to public transit, even if it is just a couple times a month and it's a couple people. That's two people that are relying on public transportation, and it should be there if they need it. I will let Jody, my colleague here, go.
Thank you, Mark. Do you remember talking to me last week?
Yes, sir, indeed.
Harvey.
Good to see you.
I thought you told me your name was Mark, but it's Merk, M-U-R-K.
Actually, it's M-A-R-K, but people mispronounce it, so I just put the U in there.
It's on the screen as M-U-R-K. I said I'm pronouncing his name wrong. I got to tell him that. Yeah, I appreciated talking to you out there last week. And I'll be there for the grand opening, as well as recertifying myself and my peer support.
Good.
And Jody, did you have anything that you would like to say?
I don't really have too much to add on to what Merk said, because he always speaks so eloquently and passionately for the organization and for our participants. One thing that I do have is, we purchase bus passes from the Transit Commission, from ART, and I have those numbers as well. And I basically just want to share those just to show that there's actually an economic impact that can affect this decision as well. Last year, we spent $12,000 on bus passes, and the majority of, so we purchased bus passes for the participants in all 9 of our programs, but out of the 28,000 people that we served last year, half of those people came through our Drop-In Community Center at Westgate on the bus. So that's just another you know, it's going to be a heart and a head decision. So we're trying to give you information on both sides of that coin.
Much needed information.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
Brandon Oliver's in the queue.
Thank you, sir. I was just checking, when is the grand opening date again?
Well, we're having our open house, our like official open house is on January 19th. We're having our soft opening right now. Today really was our first day where we were kind of in a position where we could take guests. And like Merck was saying, so we had some of our community partners drop in. We'd love for you to drop in. Some people from the community paramedics came in, and like Merck was saying, we had 15 participants come and walk through the door probably just from word of mouth. People have been waiting. We've been closed for two months since we moved out of our old location. People are ready for us to open our doors. But yeah, we'd love for anybody to come to when Westgate shopping at number 46. It's in between Oriental Pavilion and Tuesday morning. Hopefully we'll have a sign up in the next couple of weeks.
It's much needed service. Bill had his hand up first.
Yeah, so thank you for telling us all about this. Sounds like it's a new game since we heard your presentation a couple months ago. You know, when you were talking, Merck, about the numbers, were those individual people or are they number of visits?
So those are individual people. So every time someone comes in, if somebody came in 5 times in one day, they wouldn't be counted 5 times. So it's single people, and if they visited 20 times in the day, they'd be counted as one person.
If the same person came all month, would that be 1 or would that be 30?
No, if they came every day, we do our numbers by the day. So
okay.
If they came 10 times today, it would be 1. If they came 5 times tomorrow, it would be 1. At the end of the month, they would have come 2 times.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Jessica, Amber, you people, I don't know how you do this, but that sounds like a huge candidate of demand for the bus service. So if there's a way that'd be wonderful data for where else do those people need to get to, right? They're just going to your community center. They all live different places. They all do different things. It'd just be wonderful. We had some visibility on all their needs, because there's a very isolated community that has transit needs that it'd be great if we could figure out a way to serve.
I really feel, I'm sorry. And I didn't raise my hand. I apologize. I feel that it'd be really great for us now that we have the stop level data at these stops, and we can actually see, and they've started their soft opening, was today. We'll be able to track that on a stop level basis in terms of the Westgate stops. And it is important that these individuals are probably utilizing the system and going to other places as well. And we thank you for bringing it to our attention. It was discussed when we brought forth the topic, and it was brought up that y'all were going to be moving there and that we needed to get additional information before we made a decision.
Yeah, Amber, if I could just follow on where I was going with it, there may be places they need to go that we don't serve. That's where I was going with my comment.
Thank you, Bill. Are there any more comments that they would like to address to Merck or Jody? I would, as being a peer support specialist, what they do, you can't measure it. It's I almost break down in tears as far as thinking about it, because you never know when somebody's reaching out for help, but you have to be able to be there in order to help someone. but they do a fantastic job each and every day. And they're probably able to get in touch with them 24/7. I'm quite sure they are. Okay, moving. Anybody else want to say anything? Okay, moving forward. Let me see. Carmen. I believe Carmen had some information for us today.
Hi, everybody. So I am just following up. I was here. I was here virtually in October, and we were talking about signs and communication. So I kind of wanted to give you all an update and tell you kind of the things that we're still working on as far as that goes. We had our transit assembly week before last, and other than that, we've gotten feedback from riders in other ways. So thought it would be good to tell you where we're at, telling you where we're still hoping that we could get some support for the riders. So what I thought is I'll go over each of the things that I brought up and let you know kind of where we're at. So the first thing that I mentioned was the digital signage at the transit center. And we're still hearing from riders that the large sign seems to be working improperly, and that still some of the bay signs show the wrong times. Hang on. Sorry. Another one of the concerns was we were wanting more information about the alternative apps to the transit app. And that's something we haven't heard from the riders since October. We're still wanting to have better syncing time between the actual time and the time on the apps. But I did hear from a couple people that they are improving the syncing times. So that's pretty cool. Something else that we were really hoping for is the announcements on the bus. That still seems to be an issue. And I know, and I'm super grateful that city staff has been looking into this, and they requested bus drivers to give their feedback. So I'd really like to know kind of where that's at, and like what is like the projected next steps for that. We talked about paper maps on the bus. I don't know if y'all remember, but that was something that in talking to city staff, physical maps, I guess, people just throw everywhere. And so that wouldn't make sense. And so currently there's just the ones at the transit center. And we at Better Buses would like to see like at least a couple other locations where the maps would be available to people, because that's a one-stop, and I don't necessarily think that that comes to mind. Like, yeah, you have to go in there, but if I'm going between buses or if I'm not going to the transit center, I might not have access to them. We had asked for the rules for the riders and the drivers to be posted, and city staff, I think at our meeting or your meeting, made us aware that they're on the back of the system map. And that's, I was super grateful to hear that, but also I think it would be important, and like our view is if everybody had the ability to see those rules all of the time, we would believe that they would understand these rules that they're supposed to follow. And, people might say, oh, well, a lot of them are common sense. But if, say, a bus driver is going to address a rider with specific rules that are broken, the rider could be like, I don't know, because what is common sense to somebody might not be something that anybody considers if they don't have them. So I just think it would be great. We just think it would be great if they were available in other ways, like if maybe they could be on the bus or something like that. So we also talked about stops and the signage at stops. And very cool city staff put together a survey. And I don't know if they're still gathering information from that, but in talking to them, it really seemed like what would be so beneficial is if people were able to drive the routes, maybe with a passenger. So the passenger could be like notating, oh, this sign doesn't have this, and then let the city know. So Butter Buses is urging people who have cars and have the capacity to make some of those routes and then let city staff know. And of course, if you want to join Better Buses on those sort of trips, like let us know, because we're always looking for volunteers, and we will be doing at least some of those routes. Do you all have any questions or anything that you would like to give feedback on the things I said?
Sandy has her name in the queue.
Thank you, Harvey. Carmen, I would just like to say that I agree with you on a lot of your points. As I was starting to talk about earlier, but I'll just say this much because you've already brought it up. As far as rules for everyone, and I did ask a supervisor if there was a policy and procedure manual, and he said yes. And I'm thinking that there's a safety manual also. So I think we need to get someone to speak on that. As far, because I have friends, I ride the bus, okay, and there are so many different ones of us, diversified, the most diversified group in the city. And I think maps need to be somewhere else, yes. And all that you talk about, because we are the reason the buses are here, okay? We are customers because we pay our fare. And, but I'll talk with you another time, email you or something like that, and we'll talk about it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm going to pop my email in the chat, but if you all don't want to write it, it's very long. You can email betterbusestogether@gmail.com.
Thank you, Carmen. Glad you're here tonight.
Thank you.
Moving on down the agenda, Transit Committee membership. The Multimodal Transportation Commission voted to reappoint Georgia Birch for a second term. And then moving on down, we have the Transit Committee member updates and rider experiences. Do we have any committee members that want to give their rider experience or some updates that they have? Colin. And then we'll go to Sandy.
Yeah, thank you, Harvey. I was looking over the November 2022. I guess is it the report that is provided, like that's attached to the agenda? Where is it?
Are you talking about the on-time performances?
Well, it's the RAP. I think it's the RAP development report. Is that it?
Oh, we haven't got there yet.
Right. But in member rider experiences, this is kind of, I was looking at that report and noticing that there's been several, well, maybe 2 accidents last month where a car rear-ended a bus while the bus was making a stop. And I do notice, and I think I have a safety concern, that when I ride the bus, I would say the majority of the people riding the bus are anxious to get off, and they stand up long before the buses stop and to get close to the door to get off as fast as they can. And it concerns me that these riders, they do not see the back of what's going on behind the bus because there's no window back there. And so in their anxiousness to get off the bus, I see a situation where the occasional rear ending of the bus could have bad implications for that rider that is no longer sitting. Not sure what the transit agency could do about it to encourage, but in my opinion, I think riders need to stay seated while the bus is moving. It just seems like that would be a safer for everyone involved and avoid potential crashes and accidents. So that's all I have to say at this time. Thanks.
Catherine, Amber, would you like to handle that one?
Sure, I can. And I don't have like the rider rules in front of me, and we can look at those. And that could be something to be added in a lot of cases. We do ask for people not to stand or move while the vehicle is in motion. So it might be even just laminating that as a sign, or, making sure that if we see it, we can address it. A lot of it is a standard rider request that we put in safety rules. I would have to check to make sure that we have that, but it's something that we could add. And maybe, if we look at identifying if there's certain route, we could put it on buses as well. But it is a general rule that we don't like the riders to move around the bus when it's moving. I mean, it is a policy. We ask people to remain seated until the bus is at a full stop.
And that policy makes sense. Just never see anybody paying attention.
Adhering to it.
There's so it's kind of like, okay, is that policy really being effectively addressed if nobody is paying attention to the policy? You do see on the buses a sign that says don't speak to the bus drivers to distract them, and you see a sign that says don't stand up in front of a certain point. So maybe that policy just needs to be reinforced from a safety perspective.
I'd agree. We can take a look at that. And also with Carmen's suggestion about having maybe those rules, maybe we have them laminated, or we look at how they're currently being displayed at the back of the map. Maybe we take a short summary and just have one of those laminated on each bus. We could take a look, and maybe LaShawn can, I see LaShawn also and Sandy have their hands raised.
I would like to go to Barry on first, and then Sandy will be back with you, and then LaShawn.
Thank you, Harvey. Amber, I was going to suggest that when we look at the things we're going to prepare for May, for the bus announcements, the talking bus, and what the passengers get, maybe we could look at public announcement on the bus as well.
I agree. I think that would be good. That was I wrote that in my notes when we're doing that. I'm like, could we put this on the talking bus?
that and putting stickers on buses helps put it in their face. One of the things, Colin, one of the big concerns I have is the drivers are not cops, and for them to be enforcing all the rules they do a pretty good job, but it is also on top of what they're doing, which is driving a 30,000-pound rig up and down these roads. So anything we can do to reinforce it and put it in front of the passengers, so at least they understand that there's a safety factor there. We don't mind you staying seated until we get stopped and they open up the door. It should just be part of the process. So yeah, reminders however we can, we should try to do.
I agree. And if we can put additional stickers, if there's some that we can just purchase to put on each bus, we can definitely look at that.
Absolutely. That'd be the quickest one to put in front of them, and then look at some other options. Yeah.
I agree.
Thank you, Barry.
And I agree. The drivers have too much that they need to worry about. They have to be, they're not parents. So they can't be telling all the kids in the back of the buses to sit down. So
exactly.
Yep, you're right.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Colin. LaShawn?
I just wanted to piggyback off of that. So that was on the buses, we also have the handbars for people to hold and some straps for them to hold on to, because we have routes that are completely full where we have standing room only. So it's it's kind of like, are they standing? Are they sitting in some cases? So that's the reason why that stuff is there for them as well.
Thank you, LaShawn. Sandy?
Yes, sir. This may not be, I may not be popular, but that's okay because I'm keeping it real and I'm speaking for more customers, passengers than myself who feel scared to talk about how they're treated. Not every bus driver does this, but there's been something going on recently about taking off before a passenger has been seated, refusing to kneel the bus for anyone that needs it, whether they have a cane or not, whatever the thing may be, speeding. There is one more thing. I can't remember that one. But I'll put that in the email to someone. And also the security guard that's there, Mr. Bovine, him banning people from the property just because he doesn't like their situation in life at the moment, like they can't change, such as someone that is homeless, someone that has PTSD, an addict. As far as I know, homeless people are still allowed to ride the bus. Addicts are still allowed to ride the bus. People with PTSD, me, I'm still allowed to ride the bus, no matter what the condition, no matter what. And so I and a guy who was homeless trying to get back to his camp with his food for the night, and it was a cold night. He got banned from the bus. I got banned from the property. And the rest of this is already legal. So this person doesn't need to be security guard at the art station at all. He doesn't do his job. I have videos. And this is what we put up with. It's not just about all that we've talked today. I'm saying that the main thing every day is how we're treated. And I could go on and on. I won't, because I know everybody's attention span is really short. But I will be developing emails about all this because, the other thing was the driver drives up to the curb and purposely has a lot of space between the bus and the curb. People can get hurt that way. And another comment I have, this has been going on for a long time with RapDev. And if people are not safe on the buses, then that kind of negates a contract that the city has with RapDev, and we need somebody else to take care of it.
Thank you, Sandy. Everybody's input is always important. I'd like to point that out to everyone. Amber?
Sorry, I was on mute. I apologize. Any type of situations, it's easier to address those if we know of them right away, so we can pull. There's video. I would appreciate it. And Sandy, please feel free to share those instances with me that you're indicating, and we can address appropriately. But thank you for bringing them to our attention.
Thank you so much, Amber.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Amber, and thank you, Sandy, for your input. And thank everyone for their input. So moving on, I guess I'll do mine now. I would like to go into last December the 8th. I attended a writers' assembly from 3 to 5. And they also they gave out 20 books of passes. I thought that was very commendable of them. The way I approached the Writers Assembly was they want to know who I was and where, why I was there. But being a concerned citizen is one. I'm a veteran. I'm a bus rider on the S1, 3, and 6. The Transit Committee chairman with the Greenway Committee, the Human Relations Commission. I'm a peer support specialist. And as I told them, I'm here to gain insight to bus riders' experiences. And there were some 20 people there giving their opinions, even had an engineer. And their complaints came from, the buses need to be cleaned more. A homeless person said if you paid him, he would clean up the buses, and when the buses pulled in the evening. Several of them said that. And the drivers are making you wait outside the bus when it's cold. And they don't know whether they're waiting on passengers running. They don't wait on passengers running to the bus. I've understood several different aspects of that myself. Some drivers will stop and some won't. But once they leave out of the slip, I understand that they're on their way, they're on their route. And then, like I said, they had some good conversation. I suggested they attend some of the meetings here that we're going through now, and as well as join the transit committee, be the change. But they want better follow-ups on complaints, customer service on the platform, drivers with attitudes, hours of extension. I explained a little bit about that to them, why we don't have that. And, like I said, the poorly maintained buses, better benches at stops. And I told them we need the public's input as far as where the bus stops weren't that great. And some of you said crosswalks going to that, but I said that's probably a city or state problem. We don't have nothing to do with that. But they're waiting on us to get more drivers and suggestions of Wi-Fi on the bus. But like I said, I'm just putting things out there with they suggestions that they came up with, and then to stop the drivers from eating on the bus. And they would like to have a bus driver of the month as well. And moving toward what the commendable drivers that I did run into this month. Otisha, very, very great driver. Philip, very good driver. And Daryl, big Daryl. I would like to commend these drivers. They are top of the line. I love all my drivers. I get kind of choked up about saying it, but I love my transit. And thank you for letting me have my time. Sandy has her hand raised.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, I have some drivers that I would like to give a shout out to. Holly, she's been driving for years and she is just steady and chill and just does her job. And she is incredible. Al, as usual, he lets everybody know what's going on, and make sure that everybody gets to where they need to be. And he slows down a little, not a lot, at every bus stop just to see if there's anybody sitting there. Mark is fantastic. There's so many more, but that's all I can think of right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. And I forgot two drivers. That was Vicky and Lane. They're also fantastic drivers. Does anyone else have any more rider updates, experiences to share? Staff, are there any other things that you would like to discuss in departmental updates or operation updates?
I've provided my memo update of some of the November items that we've been working on and just some of the topics. We talked about the vehicles, the vicinity buses. Those are they're partially made in Canada and then also made in Florida. Those vehicles we've had some challenges with. We are seeing some closure, as I indicated before. I have a meeting with the manufacturer and their sales manager. We will be getting a timeline tomorrow on delivery. And the Gillig buses will be in production on the line in April. And Sandy asked about the hybrid vehicles, and we are working on that. It's a process with FTA, the grant award, the items that we need, and then we can move forward with procuring. So we hope to get that. We are now fully staffed. We've been fully staffed for a month now, which has been extremely beneficial, and we will see that in the future. Now that we are up to staff, we have more staff resources that are available to these items. I talked about the triennial review. We had the 5310 and 5307 grant applications that were submitted to the MPO on Thursday. And there's a bus stop update. That was the Emma Road and Bingham Road. There was some drainage issues, and we did work with Stormwater, and I believe they worked on some grading issues to try to get the water away from that stop. So Catherine may be able to give a little bit more information if you need it. But that's my memo. So if there's any other additional updates that you need or have any questions, let us know.
Okay.
Thank you so
Catherine,
much,
did
Amber. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
Catherine, did you have anything to add?
No, I think Amber, like always, did a really great job of explaining everything. But if you guys have any questions, I may not know the answer immediately because you know how new I am, but I will hunt it down and I'll find out for you. No problem.
But did they do anything to that Emma and Bingham curve right in there?
Yes. So Stormwater ditched it, and I haven't seen it since it rained to double check that it was draining properly. But they did let me know that they went out and ditched it, which when they described what that meant, they said that they changed the grade so that it would run off, not pool up in the street. So hopefully that helped.
When it gets a little warmer, I'm going out there. It's going to get too cold, Lamar, to go out there. If there's nothing else, I would love to thank everybody that came out today. Staff, you're phenomenal. Catherine, Amber, Nicole, we're getting to know each other. I can't do my job without y'all. Y'all helped me tremendously.
I think Colin has his hand up.
Okay, Colin.
Yes, thanks. Amber, looking over your report, can you just briefly touch on the Transit Fair Technology project update and kind of is there any sort of timeline associated with that?
We're doing internal stakeholder presentations on the key implementation, or not the implementation, but the actual options. We're trying to solidify those. We've missed a few meetings in terms of there's been additional items and staff has been gone, and then the consultant actually had to rearrange their schedule. So there hasn't been much, except we're just kind of clarifying the options, and then we will be bringing it to our external stakeholders, which you all will be included hopefully in the next month or two. But we're in the last stages of the recommendations of the alternatives for the fare collection, as well as an implementation plan. And hopefully we'll roll that out in a month or two, depending on the internal stakeholders, the groups with the internal, and then we'll bring it out to the external, which includes you guys.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more concerns this evening? If not, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank y'all for coming, and good night.